The destroyer's missile counter hits 0, and the Spanish Armada is still out there, hundreds of sails in the fog, drifting closer like a moving city. No reload, no backup, just one gun, one helicopter, and a crew that realizes the scariest thing on Earth. Rewind. Then the horizon starts to grow teeth. White triangles appear, one, then a dozen, then more, until you can't count them without losing your place. It doesn't look like a fleet, it looks like a moving city. And in the middle of all that open water sits one modern guided missile destroyer, steel and sensors and software, with a commander who has to make a decision that sounds simple until you say it out loud. Stop the mission. Because here is the first reality check. If your plan is to delete the entire armada one ship at a time, you're already losing. Not because the destroyer is weak, but because math is undefeated. Missiles are not infinite. They're not cannonballs you stack in a hold until the ship looks like a floating warehouse. They're expensive, limited, and locked into a fixed set of launch cells. Think of them like a built-in magazine under the deck. When they're empty, you need specialized equipment and time, usually in port. So this fight is not modern ship versus old ship. It's modern ship versus old fleet, and the clock is your weapons inventory. But the destroyer has a superpower the Armada can't even imagine. Information. Radar is basically sight made of radio waves. It can detect ships far beyond what a human eye can see, especially over the curve of the Earth. That means the destroyer can watch the Armada form up, drift, compress, and adjust course, while the Spanish captains still believe the sea is empty. In the first minutes, the destroyer isn't fighting. Now the commander asks the first brutal question: what do you shoot first? The biggest ship is tempting. It's the obvious boss. And 16th century fleets are fragile in a way modern fleets aren't. No radios, no shared map, no live updates. Their network is flags, lanterns, and messengers in small boats, meaning confusion spreads faster than orders. So the destroyer picks a likely command vessel. Central position, large silhouette, the kind of ship other ships seem to orbit. A missile leaves the ship, and the air itself looks like it tears open for a second. White streak, fast, clean. Then the horizon flashes. From the destroyer's perspective, it's a confirmation tone and a rising plume. From the Armada's perspective, it's supernatural, just a ship turning into a bonfire, like the ocean decided to punish it. Captains look to commanders for signals that don't come. Smoke drifts across sails. A burning ship doesn't just die. It becomes a drifting obstacle that other ships must avoid, and avoiding it bends the whole formation. Suddenly, the Armada's greatest strength, numbers, starts to become a traffic problem. The destroyer could keep doing this, pick another leader, fire, repeat. But every missile is a gold bar you throw into the sea. And this is where modern warfare becomes a budgeting nightmare. You can win the first act too hard and lose the ending. So the commander has to decide. Do we keep sniping the brain of the fleet, or do we save missiles for the moment the sea gets crowded and ugly? Because the Armada's counterplay is simple and brutally logical. They can't shoot what they can't see. Their cannons need line of sight. So their best move isn't to return fire. It's to force the destroyer into a world where line of sight matters again. They push forward, and if you have enough wooden hulls in the water, you can force even a modern ship to make constant, evasive choices. Not because you're better, because you're everywhere. Fog slides in low and thick, wind picks up. Waves slap steel hard enough to feel through your boots. Weather doesn't care that you have computers. Fog shortens detection ranges. Heavy seas can make helicopter operations unsafe. Spray and motion complicate precision. The destroyer still has radar, still has range, still has lethal power. But the gap between I see everything and I see enough gets smaller. And now the path to our opening moment becomes clear. Missiles have been spent doing the smartest thing, removing leadership, creating chaos, ripping holes in cohesion. But the Armada is large enough that damaged is not gone. Some ships are burning, some are drifting, some are still moving. And even if the destroyer has done everything right, the destroyer is still one ship. The ocean is not a sterile arena, it's a grinder, so the destroyer shifts strategy. This is where the story turns from sniper to street fight. The main gun becomes the workhorse. And here is the simplest way to understand it: the gun doesn't have to sink ships to stop them. It has to disable them. A ship that still floats but can't steer, can't keep speed, or can't manage sails is still alive, yet it's no longer part of an invasion. That's called a mission kill. The ship exists, but it can't do its job. So the destroyer starts placing pain where it creates the biggest traffic jam. Masts shattered, rigging torn. Fires started along decks where they spread fast, not randomly, strategically. Because a disabled transport drifting in the middle of a tight formation is a blockade made of panic. The Armada has to slow, divert, compress even more, or scatter, and scattering is death for an invasion plan. Not because every ship sinks, but because the fleet stops acting like one thing. Meanwhile, the Armada's numbers keep applying pressure. And this is the most dangerous part for the destroyer. Not the cannons, but the crowding. When the sea becomes a parking lot, small mistakes become giant ones. You don't want your maneuver options to shrink while visibility is dropping. You don't want to fight 1,000 targets with a finite magazine. This is where the central question finally snaps into focus. Could a modern destroyer stop the Spanish Armada without running out of missiles? If stop means total destruction, no. That's asking a finite magazine to erase a moving city. But if stop means break cohesion, remove leadership, disable key ships, and force retreat or collapse, then yes, likely. Because the Spanish Armada's weakness isn't wood versus steel, it's communication versus confusion. It's a system built on slow signals trying to fight a hunter that strikes from beyond sight. And now we return to that opening scene. The missile counter hits 0. Fog hangs over the water like a curtain. Sails still exist out there, yes, but the fleet is no longer a clean blade aimed at a coastline. It's chopped into pieces, burning ships, drifting obstacles, leaders gone, signals confused, fear spreading faster than orders. At that point, the destroyer hasn't killed history by sinking every ship. Because the most advanced warship on Earth still runs on limits. Missiles that don't reload easily, shells that run down, crews that tire, systems that need maintenance, weather that doesn't negotiate. So here is the question I want you to answer in the comments. If the destroyer breaks the Armada S formation and forces retreat, but most ships survive,